Good morning, everybody. I toast to you and all you do. I hope you're having a fantastic day today. It's Friday. It's a big shopping day. Maybe everybody's out shopping today. So, I hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. I didn't make a video yesterday. There's only one of me. It's not me. I didn't make a video yesterday just because it was Thanksgiving and I had to make bread and sweet potatoes, all that stuff. So it was a long day. Anyways, I hope you guys had a great Thanksgiving. I do want to start out today's video because today is the day of remembrance. And I think that it's important to take a moment to talk about it and remember. And I assume a lot of people talked yesterday about what they were grateful for. And a lot of times we don't think about the cost of that gratitude and the cost of what happened in the past. And so it's important to take that time and honor the people who were lost. And they were not lost in a good way. And so sometimes it makes it hard to honor that. But there were a lot of really good people, and entire cultures that were destroyed. And, even talking about it right now gives me the goosebumps. It's one of those things. We cannot hide the past. We cannot change the past. We have to talk about it. We have to acknowledge that it's there and not let it happen again. And that's such a hard thing to say because it is happening again. It's happening right now. It's happening everywhere in the world. And the more that we don't talk about what happened in the past, the more it's going to happen in the future. And I know that it's a hard thing to talk about and that some people are like, I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole. But we have to. We need to step into that. We need to acknowledge what happened. We need to recognize the loss and stop it from happening. And it's a tall order. It's a big thing. But if we all talked about it and we were all open about it and we all acknowledged that this is what it was, then I think that it would be tremendously easier for us to stop it from happening again. And yeah. So I know that's a somber note to start with, but I think that it's important to start there because of what today is. So I encourage everyone to take a moment today and go outside and honor the earth and remember those who were lost and take that time today. So with that being said, such a somber topic. But like I said, it's important to talk about, and I wanted to take a moment to really just put that out there. We do need to acknowledge that. We need to acknowledge that it continues and that we continue to sweep it under the rug and we continue to look the other way, and we have to stop doing that. So I encourage everyone to stop looking the other way, to stand up for what is right, and to stop sweeping everything under the rug. So with that being said, let's talk about our introspective journey. And today's question is also kind of a challenging question, and it is, how easy or hard is it for me to accept the opinions and knowledge from other people? So I have a great example of this. I just recently sent out all of our books to one of the fellow YouTubers I watch. And when I sent them to her, I did not know that she was a copy editor. So she got back to me and she told me that her copy editor brain was having trouble getting through some of the things. And even though those are hard words to hear, I've had my stuff edited by several people, and it's gone back and forth. It's taken a long time to get to where it is now. And then when you send it out to someone and they come back to you and they're like, well, I see that there are some mistakes. You're like, and it's hard to hear. It's really hard to hear, but at the same time, it's good to hear. It's important to hear those things so that you can improve. And I think that's one of the harder things when we are seeking the opinions of other people and the knowledge of other people, is that it's not always going to be what you want to hear. And sometimes that can be a big thing to swallow. You're like, oh, okay, all right. And you don't want to always hear those things. I'm just thinking about the comments that we talked about yesterday. And like it is. I mean, it's hard. Everybody has trouble with this. And so when you begin to think about this question, do you avoid talking to other people because you don't want to hear their opinion or you don't want to learn from them? And most people don't want to admit, I don't want to learn something new. But sometimes it's really hard to learn something new. Sometimes we've been taught one way our whole life. This is true for people of Christianity. You go to church your whole life and you grow up, you learning one way. This is how God is, this is how religion is, and this is how it should be. And when you step outside of that, it's hard to see the knowledge from another perspective. It's hard to let go of those things that you've had your whole life. I talk to people a lot who are like, I don't understand how to find a new God when I've only had the right God. And when they start seeking that knowledge from other people, sometimes it's hard to process everything. So do you have trouble processing that? Do you have trouble with your own bias? Your bias, our bias, your individual bias is such a huge impact in how we see the world and how we approach the world and how we talk to other people. And when we get caught up in that bias and we're like, oh, this is just how it is, we have like our blinders on. And we can find it really hard to see the other side of things. And if you can't hear that from other people, think about why. Going back to the example of the books, it was hard to hear, oh, you need more editing. Okay. And that's a good thing. It's good to hear that feedback, and that's why I sent the books. I didn't send it to her thinking she was a copy editor. I just know she really likes journals. So I was like, I'll send these to her. And I even told her, I said, well, I didn't know you were a copy editor. So, I appreciate the feedback. But that's not why I sent it to you. And I appreciate the feedback. I want the feedback because you want to improve. And so when you think about the question for today of accepting and listening to other people's opinions and knowledge, is it hard for you to do that because it's hard for you to grow? Is it hard for you to do that because you don't want to step outside of your comfort zone? Start to think about why it's hard for you to hear other people's opinions. Now, of course, there are people out there who come at you mean and they want to hurt you with their opinions, and that's not what I'm talking about. Summer was super nice when she came at me and said, hey, I just noticed, she didn't come at me like, oh, this is horrible and this sucks. Thank God, because that would hurt my feelings. But, so I'm not talking about people who come at you with malice or, they're trying to hurt you. So if that's the examples that are coming into your brain, you're like, well, I don't want to hear other people's opinions because they're always mean to me. Well, those are not the people who are there to help you. And so again, maybe on those relationships, you have to go back to those questions about, is this a mutually respectful relationship? Is this beneficial to both of us? Are we in a good place? And that's different than if you have somebody who loves and cares about you and is sharing their opinion because they want to help you. Sometimes my husband and I will get into little tiffs because we see things from a different perspective. And he and I are both really, really honest people. And often honest to the point of not saying things in a very nice way. And so we have to stop and say, okay, I'm not trying to hurt your feelings. I'm just being really honest. And maybe I should have said that in a different way. And so when it comes to those kind of situations where you're feeling like your feelings are getting hurt because of someone else's opinion, maybe ask, like, hey, let's talk about this. Why are you being so harsh? Or why am I taking this so harshly? Sometimes we are just really sensitive about certain topics. And we don't find it funny, or we don't find it like whatever. And so those are things that we need to communicate. And that needs to be like separated out from you thinking about your ability to accept other people's opinions and knowledge. Because when we are seeking out that knowledge, it shouldn't be coming at us and hurting us. And I know sometimes, we believe something for so long, and when we learn something new, we're like, whoa. And it can be hard to swallow, but it shouldn't hurt you. And so if something is hurting you, you need to think about, why is that hurting my feelings? Why am I being affected by it this way? And how can I grow from this? And if you're having trouble with that growth aspect, why? You got to think about why. Why is it so challenging for you? So, yeah. So the question for today is, sorry, I'm still really stuck on this editing thing. I'm trying to think of where I'm going to get more editors so that I can seek out their opinions and their knowledge and get this information back so that, you can grow and things can get better. I will have to say that one of the hardest and most beneficial lessons I've ever had to learn is through editing. I've lost friends through editing. I've lost great ideas through editing. Because it's one of those things where you take your knowledge and you take your information, you take what you're doing, and you put it out there into the world for other people to critique. And that can be really, really challenging. And through that, I've learned a lot about constructive criticism. I've learned a lot about taking the opinions of other people and not letting it sink in so deep that it hurts me. When they tell me that there's a mistake, or they tell me they found something that's not right, or they don't like one of my videos, or whatever it may be, yeah, you have to be able to say, okay, this is my work and I want to make this better and I want to grow from this, and therefore I need this information from outside sources. And it doesn't just have to be with work. I'm using the editing because this is something that I do all the time, constantly having things edited. I'm constantly having people tell me, oh, you shouldn't say it like this, or it should be said like that, or this isn't the right word, or blah, 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 this doesn't make any sense. And it's just a place to grow from. And in the beginning, it was really, really hard not to take that criticism as criticism upon myself. And so when we're talking about expanding our knowledge and opening up our world and growing and doing those things, listening to what other people have to say can be really challenging. And it can also hurt because people are not like, yes, let's do this. Hooray, it's amazing. When people do say it's amazing, I'm like, yes. It's very exciting because I've grown and I've been able to produce something that's better. And now, like with the editing, that's something that's like physical and, here. But when we're talking about like your spiritual practice, this is another place where it's so hard to listen to other people's opinions. Being in a coven is really, really hard. People are like, oh, this is beautiful. No, it's really hard. It takes a lot of trust. It takes a lot of integrity. It takes a lot of confidence. It takes a lot of trust. I'll say that again. It takes a lot of trust to be able to be in that kind of situation with someone, because you are working with such a deep spiritual aspect of yourself that it's hard to hear from other people, oh, that's not how I do it, so you must be doing it wrong. And now that's part of the problem when we're talking about other people's opinions, is we're getting to right and wrong. And yeah, there are some things that are right and wrong. Genocide is wrong. Racism is wrong. Hate, these things, they can definitely go into that category. But when we're talking about how you call corners, or we're talking about which gods that you call to, or how you meditate, these are things that are real specific to you. And you can go out and hear the opinions of 100 other people and take that information and build your own practice. It's not about right and wrong. So, I guess that's a little side tangent on this question, is that when we're talking about opinions and knowledge from other people, we're not talking about you being right or wrong. If you're racist, I'm sorry, that's wrong. And you need to go out and spend some time with some other cultures and learn from some people who are different. And I really think that racism stems from people only being around like-minded people. If you go out and you talk to somebody else, and you talk to someone from a different culture, or you talk to somebody from a different religion, or you talk to somebody who's different, you'll see that they have all of these beautiful experiences to share with you that are just as valid as yours and can teach you, and you can grow and you can become this beautiful new person. But you have to let those experiences in. You have to let the criticism in. You have to let the good and the bad and the opinions and the knowledge and all of this stuff in. So really think about it today. I challenge you. I really challenge you to think about how open you are to other people's opinions and knowledge from other people and other places. And how you let that help you build your practice, build your spirituality, build your knowledge, build who you are into a better person, so that you can grow. And this is one of those questions. Can you hear the crop duster? It is loud. Oh, where's my coffee? Well, flies over, I'll drink some coffee. All right. Totally forgot where I was. Crop duster. So, oh yeah, okay. So if you are thinking about all of these and it's just hard for you to let in other opinions because you're not ready to grow, then begin to think about why you're not ready to grow. And how you could benefit from something new. We get so comfortable in our knowledge that sometimes it's hard to accept knowledge from somewhere else or something different. So take that time today. I really challenge you to think about how well you accept the opinions and knowledge from other people, and how you can use that to help you grow. So, yeah, before I go off on another crazy tangent, yeah, that's my challenge for you today. So 2 things. 1, take a moment for today as a day of remembrance and honor the earth and honor the souls that have been lost to the earth, not just here in the United States and not just 100 years ago, but now, today, all over the world. We need to talk about it. We need to remember, and we need to recognize that this is still going on. So take that time today. And then also take time today to think about your own growth as a person and how willing are you to accept the opinions and knowledge from other people, and then what do you do with it? Do you grow from it? Do you build more blinders? So I hope everybody has a fantastic Friday, and I will talk to you guys all soon. Don't forget to like and subscribe.